Hi, I'm Miss Johnson, and I will be teaching multiplication and division. In this lesson, I will teach my students how to multiply and divide using story problems. I will also compare the same multiplication problems and explain the similarities and differences. Students will understand the order of multiplication problems and why each number is where it is. They will also solve story problems using multiplication and division with symbols, drawings, or other visual content. The standards I will use for this lesson is to interpret a multiplication equation as a comparison. Interpret 35 equals 5 times 7 as a statement, and that 35 is 5 times as many as 7, and 7 times as many as 5. Also, we will multiply or divide to solve word problems involving multiplicative comparison by using drawings and equations with a symbol for the unknown number to represent the problem, distinguishing multiplicative comparison from additive comparison. The story problem we will use first is Miss Johnson has 6 rows of 4 desks. The desks are full when no one is absent. How many students are in Miss Johnson's class? Here, a visual is shown to represent 6 rows of 4 desks. Down the side, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows of desks. Then, across the bottom, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 desks in each row. The equation for the story problem on the previous slide would be 6 times 4. 6 being the number of rows or groups, and 4 being how many is in each row or group. The answer would be 24 total desks, which also means that there are 24 students in Miss Johnson's class. Before, there were 6 rows of 4 desks. How would the equation change if it was 4 rows of 6 desks? Now, if we went back and looked at the visual for the first story problem, there was 6 down the side and 4 across the bottom. This would change by being 4 along the side and 6 across the bottom, making the equation be 4 times 6. There are 4 rows of desks and 6 desks in each row, but the answer would still be the same. The next story problem is Miss Johnson wants to bake cookies for her students. She makes a total of 48 cookies. She has 24 students. How many cookies can each student have if she gives away all of the cookies? I drew out 48 circles to represent the 48 cookies. I then used a red marker to X off cookies enough for each student to have one. So I marked off 24. I then used a blue marker to mark off another 24. I could not go any further. The red X represented 1 cookie per student. Then the blue X represented the second cookie per student. There was not a third X. This meaning the equation is 48 divided by 24. The answer is each student can have 2 cookies. I changed the story problem about cookies from division to multiplication. The story problem is now Miss Johnson wants to bake cookies for her students. She has 24 students. She wants each student to have 2 cookies. How many cookies should Miss Johnson make? I drew out 24 X's to represent the students. I then put 2 red dots below each X so that each student would have 2 cookies. In the end, you would add up all the dots that are the cookies to find out how many cookies Miss Johnson should make. There are 24 students, and each student should have 2 cookies. So the amount of cookies that Miss Johnson should make is 48. I taught my students how to multiply and divide using story problems. I also compared the same multiplication problem and explained the similarities and differences. Students learned the order of multiplication problems and why each number is where it is. They also solved story problems using multiplication and divisions with symbols, drawings, and other visual content. Thank you very much. The end.